Hello everyone. In this video, we will go through the purchasing organization, the key tasks and role purchasing is required to comply with, as well as the main way in which the purchasing organization can be structured within an overall corporation. Let's start with the tasks and roles the purchasing has got. Purchasing is involved in several levels of activities. Some of them are strategic and related to long term, having an impact on long term. Other ones are tactical in the medium term, so with impact on the medium term. Other are operational, on the short, very short term. Let's start from the first type, the more strategic activities that purchasing is asked to carry out. They range from outsourcing decisions. They touch the fact that they may involve long-term agreement with the suppliers, spanning across several years. In some cases, purchasing may also involve proposing an equity participation in the supplier in order to structure and consolidate a presence in a given technical area, in a given business. You may immediately see that these are that they may relate to large investments. In all these cases, purchasing works strictly together with the top management, and in many cases also with the finance department, in order to sort out not only the perspective of the purchasing, but also the overall interest of the corporation. In other cases, the purchasing has got tactical, is involved in tactical activities with medium-term impact. Could be revising yearly the supplier results and the related suppliers agreement. Could be launching improvement initiatives like value analysis on the purchased item. Could be developing supplier qualification programs. In all these activities, purchasing normally works together with other departments. Could be related to logistics, could be related to operations. And last but not least, purchasing is required to do in the short term very operational activities, I would say daily, and they are related to ordering what is required, expediting, which means following that the actual delivery is taking place, dealing with the suppliers with respect to defaults or different requirements. So these three types of activities are carried out by different roles within the purchasing department. One is a leading role of the purchasing director. In other cases, it's a senior buyer. In the more operational activities, it's just a buyer or an assistant. All these activities can be carried out in a centralized manner or in a decentralized manner. In fact, if we are considering corporation having different companies or different business units, purchasing can be left to each single business unit to be sorted out independently, or almost independently. This is a decentralized approach. This has got the great advantage of having the business and the purchasing very close to each other. So purchasing is rooted into the different business units, so it's very close to the issue, to the problems, can be very responsive. Another approach is a centralized approach. So purchasing is not in the different business unit, but it's centralized at the corporate level. There is a single purchasing department who takes care of all the purchases for all the business units, for all the companies in the group. In this case, the advantages are very much related to the size. There are surely larger amount of goods and services to be purchased, and therefore the bargaining power of the centralized department can be much greater. At the same time, the centralized department can be more professionalized, can know the category and its specificities much better. Because at the central level we can identify specific buyer with a limited category responsibility, so one buyer for one category or for a few categories, very deep into the specificity of that industry. At the same time, when we centralize, we do have more, in general, more bureaucracy, and the purchasing department is more far away from the business. So there are different kind of hybrid solution where some activities are carried out centrally and other are carried out locally. It could be done in a structured way, it could be done with cross-functional sourcing team. It can be that at the central level, the suppliers are selected with respect to certain categories. Some general contracts, what are called framework contracts, are negotiated and established, while the purchasing departments at the business unit level do all the daily activities with respect to this, starting from this contract, taking care that the business units has got regularly what they need for running the operation. Clearly, the dilemma of centralized versus decentralized is also needs to be dealt based on some specificities. For instance, commonalities of the purchase requirement of the different business unit. It's clear that if the business unit do have roughly the same purchase requirement, there is a strong incentives to a centralization. While if the business unit or the companies do have very different purchase requirement, it's clear that a decentralized approach is much more effective. The geographic location is also another important element. In fact, the more a company is decentralized, so is widespread around the globe, and several purchases need to be done locally, it's clear that the decentralized approach is more convenient. Supply market structure can be also another element. If the suppliers are very large, are worldwide, big companies, it makes sense to have a centralized department discussing with them instead of having different local purchasing department with a limited bargaining power and with different approaches and more often different price levels. But also the expertise required. It's also another important element. If sourcing is very technically complex, a company may prefer to have it centralized, or at least to have some part of the negotiation done centrally and then the rest done locally. So let's say that more and more companies are going for hybrid trying to get the advantages from both, and so balancing the bargaining power and the expertise of centralized purchasing with the flexibility and the closeness to the business of decentralized departments.